Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Oddest, formerly known as podcast. I am your host, the obvious troglodyte, and with me today is a person I respect very much. You're a smartass, Carl, is what your Twitter handle is, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
All right. Well, thank you so much for agreeing to be here today. It means a lot to me and my viewers. Um, I wanted to start the podcast off by asking you about you were a victim of gun violence in a robbery or a break-in that went wrong, and
Uh-huh.
instead of deciding to be a victim, you decided to no longer ever be a victim again.
Right. Yeah. I was a what you would call a progressive Democrat. Um, I grew up that way. My family was all Democrats. Um, they believed in things like gun control, and ending gun violence through those means. And it was always bestowed upon me that I had to support that way. Um, Up until 2009, I had supported gun control. I supported, the typical platform that the Democrats like to push when it comes to gun control. And in 2009, I was a victim of a home invasion. A guy broke into my house through my sliding glass door. Um, I was asleep at the time in my bedroom. My bedroom is not too far from where the sliding glass door is. And when I woke up, hearing this loud crash, because he actually broke the glass to the door. I woke up, walked to the kitchen where the sound was coming from. He saw me. I saw him. I turned to run back to my bedroom so I can get my cell phone to call 911. And as I was turning to run, he shot me three times. Uh, Once in the back, well, actually two times in the back and the upper leg. So,
Good Lord.
it caused some significant injuries. I was in the hospital for a few months and rehab for a few months. From hospital to the end of rehab was about 9 months, and I'm still suffering from the injuries today. It caused me to lose function in one of my kidneys. So, um, yeah, and from there, I went on a journey of self realization of how wrong I was when it came to supporting um, gun control. I'm now a Second Amendment advocate. I collect firearms. I shoot firearms. I try to be an advocate on both social media and in real life. So that's what I'm doing now, as far as like trying to be a voice of reason when it comes to supporting the Second Amendment.
I can appreciate the hell out of that, man. I'm so sorry that happened to you. It's one of the, it's like a horrific idea. Like
Oh,
I
yes,
couldn't even
yeah.
imagine like the thought process of what happens is like what you're thinking when that's happening because it's just such a fight or flight moment, and it's like having a gun can help you in that moment. But
Right.
yeah, like
Yeah, it
when
can.
police are minutes away. When seconds count, police are minutes away is usually the saying.
Right. And that is true. The average police response time in this country is greater than 10 minutes, and a lot can happen in that time when seconds count. In my particular situation, the whole thing happened in under 10 minutes. So, when you have a situation where, you don't have a firearm and you're relying on police for protection, which they have no duty to offer, um, it can be a life or death situation. This is why I um, advocate that people Um, this is why I advocate that people buy a firearm, get familiar with that firearm, train with that firearm regularly. Go to some classes that offer both home and car self defense. These are actually training programs that can actually help you be familiar in what to do in that situation. Get familiar with the self defense laws of your state so you're not put in a situation where you are possibly put on trial for defending yourself. And which, depending on your location, even if you're justified, it can still happen.
Yeah. Um, They even have some insurance you can purchase from some websites I've seen before where it's like to protect yourself and also educate people. I think that's very important because as much as I am a very much a Second Amendment advocate, I do strongly suggest that people do get training and then also check out your local laws and things like that because you never know when you just defending yourself is going to turn into a situation where now you're defending yourself in the court of law. And so,
You cut out there a little bit.
oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's this Midwestern BS. I've got my internet is run with on horseback for the most part. Sorry about that, but
you
yeah,
you cut
it's
out.
best to,
You're you're
it's
cutting
best
out a
to,
little bit. I'm having trouble hearing you.
I'm sorry, man. Let me try it again. It's best for people to get education. I strongly advocate for people to get education on how to use their firearms and knowing what their local laws are in order to better defend themselves even after the situation. Because you never know when you simply defend yourself and you're now on trial for doing what's right to your God-given right to defend yourself against a person who's trying to do harm on you.
Right, and you know, I've always been a person that believes in education, not just with firearms, but with anything in life. Getting yourself familiar with something before you attempt it or start it is probably the best way to go about life. And when it comes to firearms, early on in my um, advocacy, I became more familiar with certain arguments surrounding the Second Amendment. I became more familiar with, um, educating myself on different training tactics, different ammo, different firearm, what feels good, what's the best for concealed carry, what's the best for home defense, and what's the best for land defense, because land defense is something that people don't really think about, especially if you're living in like more rural areas.
Hmm.
You might have like things like coyote bears, mountain lions, or here in Florida we have gators and stuff like that. And
Really.
what's the best firearm for that? For that, so education is definitely key.
Well, one thing I've learned that a 5.56 can take down a coyote, and it's a little aggressive too. I've had to do it a few times myself here in the Midwest. I'm a California boy who moved to the middle of nowhere in Missouri, and we got a farm out here. And yeah, that's been an issue. I had a 22 for a while, and I thought, that should be good enough. And no, it's not. It injures them, and then they go and bleed out slowly somewhere, and that
Mm.
seems more harmful than I don't. I didn't like that idea. Plus, I was a shit aim because I can't see for shit. Right now, I'm not even wearing my glasses. Can't see jack and shit.
Yeah, I can't either. Like I'm wearing sunglasses right now, but these are prescription sunglasses because like I suffer from migraines. And like
Hmm.
right now I have a migraine and the sunglasses are helping me
Well, I apologize for that.
not
I have
have
that
a
effect on people. I give people migraines just for being here around.
nah, brother, you're a good man. You're a good man.
I
I
appreciate you,
really
man.
appreciate the opportunity of being on your podcast. So, I love to like talk about guns and talk about the Second Amendment and talk about just life in
So
general.
I've been wondering this, and I know that you mess around a lot, and you mess with people. You harass people, not harass people, but you get people to engage. And I was wondering, what is your go-to EDC?
So right now, I'm carrying the SIG P365
Mm,
fuse, which is a new gun. SIG just dropped it. I
it's a
think
sexy
June
gun too.
20th. Yeah, it's a really nice gun. So my go to is that right now at the moment. Before that, it was my Glock 19X,
Is it in 45 or is it in 9?
9 millimeter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I carry a 9 millimeter. I have most of my guns are 9 millimeter. Um, I just think it's a very versatile round. Right now, you can get it in different grains. You can get a really hot 9 millimeter round that mimics that of the 40 S and W, or you can get one of the more lower power rounds. So the fuse that I have is in 9 millimeter, 19S is in 9 millimeter. I'm currently, since it's going to start to get colder here where I'm at in Florida soon, I'm currently going to be carrying my Canon Rival, full size. I'm 6'5", so like
Oh
I
my
have a
God,
very
yeah,
long torso. Yeah,
you're a
I
big
have a
guy,
very long
man.
torso and really big hands, so I can carry a full size firearm cleanly.
Have you ever seen The Hobbit? That's my
No,
family
I
pretty
haven't
much
seen
because we're very short people with very small hands, and I'm a short guy. Like if you said
it.
6'5", I was like, good lord, that's a big guy.
Yeah, yeah. That's something that people don't really realize about me online is that I am tall. So when I say things like, "Yeah, I'm carrying a full size firearm," and it's like, "That's too big," why would you carry that? And I tell them like it's because I'm tall. I'm a very long, lengthy guy.
I
So
would
when I
I would
carry it, it's
I would imagine that you would be holding that revolver that the Joker had in the Batman '88 movie. Just got to pull that thing out. There you go.
Now that's one thing I do love is revolvers. Like I'm building my
You
revolver
have
collection
how many
up.
revolvers do you have now?
I did carry.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I have a I have a total of 9 in my possession and one on layaway right now. So 10 to be exact,
You can't hate the layaway,
which
man. That
grew
thing, like,
from.
I'm glad I have a gun shop that does the same thing because it's like, all right, I don't feel like I'm dropping so many bills on a gun at a time. I can actually put it on layaway. That is a brilliant thing that they do. It reminds me
Yeah,
of Christmas at Kmart.
I'm a person who yeah, I'm a person who's very indecisive sometimes when it comes to guns because like a new gun will come out and I'm like I want that, so I'll utilize layaway um and change if I need to change. I've changed quite a few guns that I was gonna get on layaway to the gun that I ultimately got. But lately I've been good about it. I haven't changed much.
So, I noticed you have a few Thompsons in there, in some of that amazing gun collection. Do you ever get any chances to like really fire those off? I know they're not fully automatic. You can't have those because Ronald Reagan was an asshole. But can you out of also oh god, I have so many questions. So the Thompson is it as cool as it seems, or is it because I haven't bought one yet? Is it accurate, or is it just
Mm.
fun to spray that bastard?
So the the Thompson is it's a very accurate gun. I will say that
Hmm.
it's very accurate. It's
It's
heavy as
45.
hell, so you kind of get yeah you kind of get fatigued holding it, especially when you have like the 50 or 100 round drum on it. It can get a little heavy, but if you're using the stick mag, it's a breeze. I mean, it fires wonderfully. It's very accurate. It can run into some problems shooting hollow points
Mm.
as far as cycling goes. But like the drum, it does have problem cycling at times. But if you're patient with it, you can get it to function. But the stick mags, they work really well. It's just with hollow point ammo, you're gonna run into some issues because this. So you have the fully automatic version, which is open bolt, and the semi-automatic version. T- uh, who is it that Car Arms, which makes the Thompson right now, they had to like modify it a little bit to be closed bolt so it can fit within the regulations of the NFA. Um, so when you do shoot it, hollow points have a problem cycling with that closed bolt.
Yeah, I usually have problems. I don't have a lot of rifling problems with my because I carry a micro 9 millimeter Smith and Wesson M&P shield.
Hmm.
That's my EDC. I was running through some rounds through it, and I didn't have any problems with the cheap like Russian ammo that was the 9 millimeters, and I didn't have any cycle problems with the hollow points, but I did have cycling problems when it was repacked ammo. That's when the only time it
Hmm.
ever jammed on me was when I was using repacked ammo. And do you ever try to repack your ammo, like recycle, reduce, reuse, close the loop?
No, no,
I don't
no,
trust it. I don't
no.
trust it.
My I have a
It's fun to
friend
mess
who
around with, but for reliability, no.
mhm.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think that's
I
an
wouldn't.
important thing.
It will only be a range type of deal. My friend does reload. He makes his own ammo. He sells it at a gun show. I do use some of his ammo for testing when I'm going to the range, just to see how reliable a firearm will be. Because if
Yeah, of
they can
course.
shoot reliably um, with repackaged ammo, I think factory ammo would be a breeze for it. So
Mm.
for me, like I'm mostly buy from stores um, like Academy or Dick's, not Dick's, but the other store, Bass Pro Shop.
Mm. But yeah, so are you originally from Florida, or did you move there later on?
No, I'm originally from Miami, Florida.
Miami,
I
Florida.
was
Okay.
born and raised here. Yeah, so I'm living in Central Florida now, in the Orlando area, but um, yeah, I'm originally from Florida, born and raised.
So would you consider
Grew
yourself
up.
a city boy or
Yeah,
a country boy?
I consider myself a city boy. I'm
Hmm.
not. I've been living in the rural area of Central Florida for a little while now. But I'm still a city boy at heart. I wear the sunglasses, the fedora.
But you look
The
incredible, man.
you know.
You look handsome as hell. You look incredible.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. I'm still a city boy. Like I still have more city boy values than I do country values, but it's really rubbing off on me now. Like I'm trying to immerse myself in that life.
You find yourself because yeah, I was born near Sacramento, and then I moved to Midwest Missouri. I knew nobody out here, and just kind of threw a dart at the map and said, "All right, there's where I'm going."
Yeah, that's incredible, man. Moving all the way from you moved from one of the more gun restricted states to the more pro gun states in the union. I consider Missouri to be the shining example of what the Second Amendment should be.
Well, I find it fun because a lot of people say like don't mess with Texas, and Missouri's like just don't fucking talk about us.
Yeah, right. Missouri. I've done a lot of research into Missouri. I mean, your attorney general is amazing. Um, the politics surrounding Missouri when it comes to guns is amazing. They're
Yeah, they
ready to
don't
fight
recognize
when
any
it comes
federal
to
gun
the
laws
Second
out here.
Amendment.
They basically said we do not recognize any federal gun laws out here, and
Right,
not saying anything whether one way or the other, but you can have fully automatic guns out here or not. No one cares.
right. So
So,
again, like I love the state of Missouri.
well, thank you. I'm sure a lot of these
Go
people
ahead.
would
I'm
love
sorry.
to hear that. But so when you go to the range, like you can't just go out back. Like out here, where I have a bunch of property out here, I just go out back and just start shooting shit off and blowing shit up. Like, do you actually have to go to a range out there?
Yeah. So the reason why I have to go to a range. I can't just shoot like out in my backyard is because there's a highway,
Mm.
like not too far from where we live,
No, there's probably some
and like
restrictions to that.
it's within. Yeah. So our county doesn't allow us to shoot if there is like a highway or the neighbors are too close or things like that. So yeah, I have to travel to a range, outdoor public range. And recently, there have been some controversy about me online because I don't particularly show myself shooting. I show a lot of photos of guns that I bought, my safe and stuff like that,
I've
but I
seen
don't
some of
show.
that where people were calling you a cosplayer, saying that like, oh, this guy just
Yeah,
collects them and he never shoots, and I'm just like, he's not thirsty for your attention.
exactly. It's just so I've been doxxed before. My wife has been doxxed before.
Oh
Like
my
we've
god,
had
that's
people
terrible.
come out. We had people come try to come out to her license that she's a medical professional. So we've had people try to come out to her license. We've had people post personal information about myself, my real name, um, my address, and stuff like that. So I'm very careful of what I post
Yeah,
online, trying not to get any personal information out there. So, when I go to the range, it's just me and my guns, and I shoot, and I'm at peace. I'm not worried about filming. I'm not worried about, things like that. And, being that people have doxed me in the past, range can be easily found online. Like, people
yep,
can find where you're shooting. So, like,
yeah.
I don't typically post shooting videos and things like that. I know a few people have asked, and I'll send them a video personally if they want to see that. But it's just one of those things I really have to be careful because I'm getting a lot of
Yeah, well, I don't blame you.
hate
That's an
online.
incredibly dangerous
So
thing to have to deal with. Sorry, it's cutting out. I said I
say
don't
that.
blame
Can
you,
you
man.
repeat that
It's an
one more
incredibly
time?
dangerous thing to have to deal with. It seems like, yeah, you have to be careful, especially because people have nothing better to do than to tear other people down or even try to get them killed because, oh, they didn't like something you said online. Like, that's ridiculous.
Right. Right. And I guess I say a lot of controversial things. I don't try to be controversial. That's not my aim online. My aim is to, first be social. That's the reason why I share my guns on with people online is because there are a lot of people out there who, are in the gun community or want to be a part of the gun community, but isn't really sure about firearms. So I try to be social and show a side of gun ownership that is um, social, approachable, friendly, welcoming, things like that. Um, my second aim is to build the community up. You know, I've had people say like, "Hey, I want to, build my following up," and I'll tell um, people who are following me to follow that person, especially if they're a Second Amendment supporter, regardless of your political affiliation. Like, I don't really worry about if you're a Democrat or Republican. If you're pro gun, you're pro gun, and that's all that matters to me. So, like, I'll try to build the community up because our community is constantly under attack. It's not like how it is in the gaming community or the car collecting community or anything like that. You can go anywhere in the country and game. There's no laws restricting you from doing that. But in the gun community, it's our our hobbies, our passions, our need for self defense, and everything that is related to the Second Amendment is constantly under attack from politicians who are looking to make a name for themselves. So, I'm consistently trying to um, build the community up so we can have a strong community for the future. And like my last thing is like just to be, part of the guys, part of the girls in the gun community. Like I don't consider myself any more special than anyone who is bigger than me or smaller than me. I'm just me, so to speak.
Yeah, that's one thing I've always loved about you is you're a bipartisan on most things, and the one thing that you're an advocate for is this the Second Amendment, where it doesn't matter which side of the political spectrum you're on, you continuously believe in upholding the Second Amendment, which I God bless you for that, man, because I agree with you 100%.
Yeah, the Second Amendment is for everyone. I don't care who you are, white, black, Democrat, Republican, gay, straight. Uh, it doesn't matter to me. I believe in the right to self defense. I believe in the right to be able to have that firearm, whether you're using it for self defense, hunting, recreational shooting. It doesn't matter. Like, I feel like if you live in this country, you should have the right to have a firearm. And I've even gone as what some would consider extreme by saying like if you're a person not currently incarcerated in a mental health facility or correctional facility or drug rehab facility, you should have all of your rights to have a firearm restored. I believe those who are a danger to who are too dangerous to have a firearm, if they can't walk into a store and buy a firearm, if they are considered too dangerous by their communities or the state, uh, they shouldn't be out on the street. To
Yeah,
have access to other weapons, like a knife can kill just as much as a firearm can kill. A bat can kill just as much as a firearm can kill. A car can kill just as much as a firearm can kill. But you know, for some reason, our opposition, the gun control advocates, seem to think that as long as a person is not shot with a firearm, if they're killed in some other way, it's okay. And I'm speaking hyperbole on that. I know they don't truly feel that way, but
yeah.
their logic is that I'm okay with this dangerous person being out on the street just as long as they don't get a gun. And that doesn't make sense to me.
A dangerous person will find a way to harm people if they want to harm them. It doesn't matter if they have a gun or not. But I do love the fact that you are an absolutist to where it's like, yeah, if someone has a felony, it doesn't mean they're a danger to society. It means a person, they made a mistake at one point and their rights should be given back to them. They should never take anyone's rights away. Because the fact that the rights are even taken away, period, it's a God given right. You have the right to defend yourself by any means necessary.
Right. And, the reason why I believe that, a person with a felony should still be able to own a firearm is because, technically lying on a government document is a felony. Lying to a law enforcement officer is a felony. And there are some people who have made mistakes, lying on a government document. There's a famous Supreme Court case that's going on right now. I don't know if it's either been decided or if they're still in oral arguments. But there was this guy who, in their, I think, early 90s, he lied on a food stamp application. And he was able to get food stamps, and he was convicted of that. He pled guilty to it. He years later he goes into a store and tries to buy a firearm, but because he pled guilty to a felony lying on a government document, he wasn't able to get a firearm. That is someone I don't consider dangerous just because he
Yeah,
lied to get food stamps. like,
it's like
like,
he was
but
hungry
that
and he
person,
lied on a document because he was hungry, and then now we're going to take your rights away permanently. That's insane. That's
exactly. Now
asinine.
he's considered he's considered as dangerous as someone who is, has a violent criminal record, career criminal who has robbed or home invaded someone's house. Like that guy who lied on the government document is considered as dangerous as the person who shot me, and that doesn't make
Mhm.
any sense.
No,
We
no, not
we
at
don't
all.
do that with anybody else when it comes to right.
Yeah, it's well, isn't also like New York City? They arrested this man for printing, like he was doing 3D printing on guns, I think it was, or no, he was assembling guns, and then they now put him in prison, and he wasn't selling them; he was like a collection thing, and they're putting this
Yeah.
poor man in prison now.
Yeah, that you're referring to my friend and all friends of the Second Amendment community. His name is Dexter Taylor. He is a software engineer, builder of things, tinkerer of things. He is what we would consider a gun nerd. He started. He has a career that spans 30 years of being in the software industry. He's an amateur radio host, licensed radio host. He built like an amateur radio station that you can broadcast over the internet. And he came into the world of firearms and became fascinated with it and wanted to build firearms and tinker with firearms and tinker with different platforms and systems of firearms. So he started building his own firearms. He built several of them, really high engineered firearms. And what happened was he was sourcing these parts from different manufacturers, legal manufacturers. He used his own credit card, his own name, because he had nothing to hide. Because
Yeah,
what he was doing was constitutional. So the ATF wanted to basically crack down on
sorry, the ATF makes me vomit.
ghost guns or they wanted to crack down on what you know the media is calling ghost guns. I don't consider them ghost guns. I consider them guns. As Dexter would say, there's nothing ghostly about them. So they know that people build firearms and things like that. So they um, hit up some of these manufacturers' customers lists that Dexter was buying from. And Dexter's name came up a few times. And Dexter being from the New York area, New York Police Department joined the ATF in investigating people in the New York area for buying gun parts. That's the name got put on that list a few times, so they went after him. In 2020, I think it was 21 or 22, they raided his house, confiscated his guns, arrested him. He spent a week at Rikers. He was bonded out by his parents. They had to put their house up for collateral to get him
Oh,
out.
Lord.
Um, he ever since then he was, he's been in space Twitter Spaces with us. He's been advocating on behalf of the Second Amendment and others who have gone through similar situations as him, being persecuted by the government because of for exercising their legal Second Amendment rights. Um, long story short, he went through a trial that was stacked against him. The judge ruled that, the Second Amendment wasn't allowed in her courtroom, so that his lawyers couldn't make a Second Amendment argument. They denied his plea for dismissal of all charges after the Bruin decision. He was later convicted and sentenced to 10 years in prison. Now, what some people may not know about Dexter is that Dexter had a chance to plead guilty and get a 5-year sentence. He refused that multiple times because he believed what he was doing was
He's
right.
not
He
guilty
didn't
of
think he could
anything.
do anything wrong. Yeah, he didn't do anything wrong. Um, some will say, well, it's against the law in New York for you to build, firearms that doesn't have a serial number. That is not true. It is against the law, federally, to build a firearm and sell that firearm to someone without a license, um, and without a serial number. But if you keep it for yourself, which is what Dexter was doing, he never advertised it. He never posted pictures online like I do. He never posted pictures online telling people, he's a builder and he could build them a firearm or anything like that. These was for himself. The first picture of Dexter's firearms was taken by the New York Police Department after they confiscated it. But as I was saying, like New York passed a law banning you to be able to build what they call ghost guns after Dexter had already built all of his firearms. So they said that Dexter is a good guy, but he violated the law by not going to New York and getting a license to have those firearms. So essentially, he's convicted on the fact that he didn't get a license after the fact to have the firearms that he had already built.
I think it's important that we keep um, bringing people to understand what the story is, and even get like having people acknowledge this because Destin did nothing wrong. He is an innocent man who's been thrown in jail over heinous bullshit laws that were just passed after the fact, and also any gun law is a violation of the Second Amendment. But there, there's no, I'm speechless. This is
Yeah.
ridiculous. This man should not be in jail.
And this is not even the only one. There's another person by the name of Corey Booth. Not Corey Booth. His last name is Mr. Booth. I have to get his first name. I'm spacing on his first name, but his last name is Mr. Booth. If you search the name Mr. Booth, security guard out of Chicago, Illinois. He was a security guard working at Home Depot. Um, he was clearing a crowd out of um, migrant workers, most of them being illegals. He was telling them to leave because you know how like they hang out in front of Home Depot hoping to get a job. Um, he was clearing them out. One of them became aggressive, attacked him, so he had no choice but to shoot the guy. As an armed security guard, you're employed to do that if your life is in danger, the staff life is in danger of the area you're securing, or the people who are visiting the establishment or living at that establishment. Um, you're employed to protect them. So that's what he was doing. He was protecting himself from a group of individuals who was trying to attack him. So he shot them, and now he's being charged with a crime for discharging his weapon and shooting them. It's a new case. His friend Corey Brooks on Twitter is advocating on behalf of him, and I'm going to be doing the same this next couple of weeks. But another person is Walker Anderson, a guy who is basically he's been convicted on the same charges as Dexter. Um, Walker Anderson is out of Minnesota. Um, he's haven't been convicted yet, but he's going through um, not the trial, but like pre-trial preliminations and things like that. So yeah, another person is my friend Brendan out of New Jersey. He was a victim of New Jersey's red flag laws. Um, he is a person who had a fire at his house, and the fires came in, put out the fire, but noticed that there was a gun box in his bedroom. And with him being, I believe, under the age of 18 at the time, it wasn't his gun; it was his grandfather's gun, who taught him firearms and had the gun in his stored in Brendan's bedroom. But because Brendan, had gotten into a fight prior to the fire online, the school and local PD like searched his Instagram and saw that he was in shooting competitions with his grandfather, and under red flag law they confiscated the firearm, and he's been in a fight to try to get his granddad's firearms back so that he can give it back to his grandmother, because his granddad is currently going through Alzheimer's and is in a nursing home, so he can't legally have a firearm. Um, but there's so many cases in addition to Dexter's where I think a lot of people don't know these cases are going on.
I didn't
Dexter's
even realize this. Like
more
I
will
knew about
come out of the
Dexter's.
case.
There's so many of these that it's press, and I think it's great that people like you who are very influential are bringing awareness to this and sharing it. And I think I'm going to join you in that fight. I'm going to go ahead and start the release of these people immediately, because this is insane and ridiculous. It's an overreach. It's a weaponization against your constitutional rights, and it's unacceptable.
Right, right, and that's what some people don't realize is that it can happen anywhere. Um, some of the states that I just named are all blue, with New York, New Jersey, Minnesota, and Illinois. But it can also happen in very red states as well, like Missouri and Florida, Texas. It doesn't matter where you are. There are still blue cities within red states. There are still blue counties within red states that can spread like a cancer, it can spread to other counties and things like that. Gentrification is very real. You have people moving from, very rich blue states and coming to rural red states to take it over and change the politics of that state. And before you know it, a Missouri or Texas or Florida can be a New Jersey, Minnesota, or New York.
Mm-hmm.
So, we have to stay vigilant and realize that at the local level, what's happening, that the politics in our cities and counties and rural areas are changing, because we have people who are coming from the states that they have made worse with their politics, and trying to bring those same politics down to the states that we live in.
It's like, yeah, if you leave a dumpster fire, don't start another dumpster fire when you travel. I got some of those. lectures when I moved to Missouri because they saw the California plates in my my car, and I was like, "Look, man, I'm not here to make a difference. I'm just here to enjoy life."
Right, right. You're not trying to change things. You're trying to get away from
Yeah.
that life that you once had, California, and looking for a better alternative. You know,
So,
it's
Carl,
one of those things where, like, as a
sorry.
person who has been, go ahead.
I was gonna end the podcast here. I'm sorry to cut you off there. I didn't mean to do that. It's a little bit of delay, so
Oh,
you
no,
got
no,
that
no, no
issue.
worries.
And I wanted to thank you so much for taking the time to sit here with some random jackass that you don't even know. But I love and respect the hell out of you, brother, and thank you so much for being here.
No, no, no. I thank you, sir. I don't care how big or small a person is. They ask me to do something on behalf of them, or behalf of the Second Amendment, or behalf of just goodwill in general. I have no problem doing it. I don't, like I said, I don't consider myself big or anything. I consider myself one of one of everyone.
I'm
I'm
five
not an
seven. You're six
individual who
five.
takes
You're pretty
myself too
big, buddy.
serious. I'm pretty humble when it comes to things. So I appreciate you having me on. This has been a blast. I love talking with people like yourself. So
I
I
enjoy
really
talking to like-minded
appreciate it.
individuals myself. And if you're ever in the Southwest Missouri area, come on by because you know you're always 100% welcome here. And I've got a lot of space to go shooting shit and blowing shit up.
Oh man, that'll be awesome. Like I would enjoy that. I definitely want to come to Missouri.
Well, thank you so much, and God bless you. And I'll catch you next time, my man.
All right, man. You have a good one.